Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Eve. I have a business called Body System Physiotherapy that's in its 25th year of business this year. So it started off as just myself and a receptionist. So I grew into a leadership role as I employed more people. And these days, myself and my business owner, my current business partner, employ 26 people together. And so we don't just work in the business as clinicians, as physiotherapists. We work as leaders of our professional and administrative staff as well. And we have a leadership group within our business that helps us with that, made up of administrative and professional staff also.
Fantastic. What's one thing you wish somebody had told you before you became a leader of people?
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me these questions to think about beforehand, because it's really interesting to think back about your leadership journey. And one thing that I've actually been working on in most recent years, which I wish someone had have told me, on multiple occasions through many years, is having the ability to listen and to be able to listen without the intent to answer, and to be able to give your leadership team and the staff that you employ the time that they need. They usually tell you what they need from you. They usually tell you what their needs are within the workplace. And creating that amount of time saves you so much more time further down the track, because your staff have got a really great knowledge of themselves and a knowledge about what their needs are, and creating safe spaces for them to be able to talk, giving them time to be able to talk. And just when you feel like they're finished speaking, just allow them more time to go on, is usually where you really get the gold. They tell you what they need, and sometimes that's not that easy for them to do to the person that employs them. And so creating space and the ability to listen, that's something that if someone had have told me right from the word go, I would have needed as a leader. I would have embraced with open arms. But it's certainly a skill that I pass on to my leadership group now, that creating time to listen and making sure you're actively listening, and listening with the intent to learn rather than listening with the intent to answer, is a really difficult skill, because we all like to talk, but a really, really important one.
It's critical. And like you say, the talking is one thing, but the silence as well, to give them the space to speak. You're right. That is where the gold and the magic happens. So listen to learn, don't listen to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that moment where you realised, oh my goodness, I'm in charge now?
I do, and I remember it really clearly, because when I first started my own business, it was really to create a job for myself where I looked after my own health and happiness, and structured my workday in a way that I wouldn't get burnt out as a professional. And I decided fairly early on that I needed a receptionist. Some people run health practices with and without receptionists. And I can remember when I went through this interview process and employed my first staff member, and I was sitting down thinking, okay, I'm in charge of someone now. I've got great responsibility here. I have to pay her properly. I have to understand what that means. I have to understand what that means legally. I need to understand what that means from a respect point of view. I have to make sure that I'm creating a workplace for her that is just as good as the workplace for me. Oh gosh, I have this massive amount of responsibility. So you go from I'm employing someone to help run my business to I'm employing someone and I have this massive amount of responsibility. I think that was the real penny drop moment of, gosh, I'm in charge here and I've got so much responsibility. And really that hit with the very first person I employed, which made me really think about, as the workplace has grown, making sure that you've actually really across how you're managing the number of people that you've got at any one stage, and making sure you really understand that responsibility and you really understand your leadership skill for the amount of people that you're employing in the workplace that you've got, but also your absolute responsibilities and where they stand to create a safe, fair, respectful workplace.
Oh yeah, and the funny thing is there's no one size fits all either, is it?
Correct.
With the business and with the individuals.
Yeah, correct, definitely. And different people have different needs. Some people like to be managed more closely. Some people like to be managed with a whole lot more freedom and flexibility. And so when you've got a staff now of 26 people, you can't give time to each one of those people in equal amounts over a full week period. And so that's where, the practice has developed into having a business partner and also into having a practice manager and having a senior leadership team, so that everyone is feeling heard and everyone's feeling looked after. But at the end of the day, it's also about creating time, because people want time with the people that employs them. And myself and my business partner do that, 2 times per year with our staff on an individual basis, where they have their development discussions with us to be able to have time with us as well. So it's managing all of these, competing interests all the time.
Yeah, and they are competing. Everybody wants to go on holidays at the same time, funnily enough.
Yeah,
correct.
Especially
in Tasmania, it's always in winter.
Yes.
What's one mistake you made early on that actually turned out to be a gift?
Look, it's really funny that you should say everyone wants to go on holidays at the same time. This is definitely a mistake I made early on, because I am a people pleaser. I want to say yes to people. And the problem is, when you say yes to too many people and too many people are away, that's not only not great for your business, but it's actually not great for the people that are left in the business, trying to actually take up the slack when there's not enough staff in the business from an administrative or a professional point of view. And it's also not fair when people come back into the workplace and are inundated and are a lot busier than what they usually are, because you've granted too much leave. So one lesson that I learned really early on is sometimes you actually have to be firm, to be kind to everyone, and sometimes actually saying no to people is actually in the greater good for individuals and the business, and making sure that you've got clear structure around that. So when it comes to leave, it's very difficult, because you do have to say no sometimes, but saying no actually makes sure that the business and the people that are in it are really protected at the same time as well, and having great communication around that. So early on, when my business was growing and I was a people pleaser, and you would say yes more often than not, that had significant consequences, and probably worse consequences than saying no in the first place to the people that are left in the business at the time. So we have structures now where people need to tell us about their leave in advance. We're running an appointment book, so we actually do need a certain amount of appointments per week to be able to service patients and get new injuries in. And if we can't get those people in, then that has a knock-on effect for the weeks on end with regards to people's lists remaining busy and all of those sorts of things as well. So we have systems in place now that even if staff are thinking about leave, they might go, yep, can you pop it in the appointment book with a question mark next to it, so that, often they're like, yep, I might have those school holidays off next year, but I haven't quite decided yet. But if they ask too late and they can't have them off, then that becomes an issue. So we've got systems in place now where we've just got really great open communication with making sure things might happen, and having a look at the appointment book as a whole, and being able to grant leave in a fair way, but also not be too liberal with trying to be a people pleaser, because it just comes back to bite you and your staff every single time.
And having everybody understand that process is quite well. You don't need to say no if everybody knows the process and they can see that it's booked out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And look, it doesn't stop people from asking sometimes, but then what you need to do is just continually educate, sit people down next to you and say, look, this is the problem that I've got, and actually explain it so that they understand it and they're not taking it personally that you're not granting their leave. Yeah. And that's really important as well for that you just take the time so people understand the decisions that you're making, rather than a yes or a no answer at any one time.
Yes, and a no and not right now is good as well. It gives them some wriggle room.
Yeah, I like the not right now, because it's tricky sometimes, right? That people sometimes that you employ want answers really quickly, because they want to book flights, or they want to take it, up a special that's just come across, their Facebook page or something like that. But actually sometimes with doing a quick look and thinking this might not be possible, it doesn't matter what sort of time pressure you're under, you still need to make the right decisions. And for people understanding that, they'll tend to give more lead time, most definitely, which is really important.
Brilliant. Kellie, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. It's really good to talk to you.
Yeah, no worries at all, Eve.